The words cut through the air like a blade. Get out. This establishment isn't for people like you. Buford Lee didn't whisper it. He announced it with the authority of a judge delivering a verdict, his voice carrying across the marble lobby of the Grand Magnolia Hotel in downtown Atlanta. Arms folded, chin raised, he stood behind that mahogany desk like a sentinel guarding sacred ground. He was looking at a black woman in a simple navy sweater and dark jeans, her only accessories a worn leather purse and calm eyes that had seen this performance before. What Buford didn't know was that in exactly 14 minutes, this woman would destroy his career, expose his corruption, and fire every single person standing behind that desk. Let's rewind to how it all began. But before we do that, let me know in the comments where in the world you're tuning in from. And if the story touches you, like and hit the subscribe button, because tomorrow I've saved something really special for you. Clara Washington stepped through the brass doors of the Grand Magnolia alone. No entourage, no designer labels, no obvious wealth markers, just confidence in her stride and purpose in her eyes. The lobby's crystal chandeliers cast golden light across imported marble floors, but Clara's attention was fixed on the front desk, where 3 staff members stood like a tribunal. Buford Lee, 52, general manager, with silver hair and a permanent scowl. Harvey Glenn, 45, assistant manager, whose smile never reached his eyes. And Ida Bell, 38, front desk supervisor, who treated every interaction like an interrogation. I have a reservation, Clara said simply. Penthouse suite. The name is Washington. Buford's eyes narrowed as he looked her up and down. That's a premium accommodation. Are you certain you're at the correct hotel? The insult hung in the air like smoke. Clara didn't flinch. She slid her ID and platinum credit card across the counter with practiced calm. Buford picked them up with obvious reluctance, holding the card like it might contaminate him. Interesting, he muttered. This appears suspicious. Harvey pressed a button on his console. His voice echoed through the lobby intercom. Security, we have a potential fraud situation at the front desk. Possible unauthorized guest attempting to access premium accommodations. A businessman in the lobby looked up from his newspaper. A young couple paused their conversation. Ruby Jean, a travel blogger from Nashville, quietly raised her phone and began recording. This is happening live, Ruby Jean whispered to her companion. Someone needs to document this. Clara's expression remained unchanged. I'm not here for trouble. I'm here for my room. Ida Bell scoffed. Oh, we've seen this before. Fake cards, stolen identities, people thinking they can waltz into a place like this. From across the lobby, Ruby Jean's voice carried clearly. I'm live streaming this. People need to see what's happening here. The tension thickened. Other guests began to notice. Phones emerging from pockets and purses. But Clara simply reached for her own phone and made a single silent call. On the other end, 3 blocks away in a corporate office, her executive assistant answered immediately. It's happening, Clara said quietly. The system's ready, came the reply. Buford, emboldened by what he perceived as Clara's desperation, leaned forward with theatrical authority. You know what we're going to do? We're going to secure this card until we can verify its authenticity. Harvey eagerly took the platinum card and walked to a locked cabinet behind the desk. With exaggerated ceremony, he placed it in a steel safe and slammed the door shut. Problem solved, he announced smugly. Ruby Jean's live stream was gaining viewers rapidly. They just confiscated her card, she narrated. This is theft, happening in real time. The businessman folded his newspaper entirely, now watching the scene unfold. An elderly woman near the concierge desk shook her head in disgust. Clara's voice stayed level. You're going to regret this decision. But Buford was intoxicated by his own power. You people always think you can intimidate us. Well, not today. He turned to address the growing crowd of onlookers. Folks, we're just protecting our legitimate guests from fraud. Nothing to see here. That's when Rayford Clyde, a young bellhop who'd been watching from the side, stepped forward hesitantly. Sir, I actually saw her name in our VIP registry this morning. The reservation looks legitimate. Buford's head snapped around. One more word and you're fired, boy. The threat hung in the air like a thunderclap. Rayford's jaw tightened, but he didn't back down. I won't lie for you, he said quietly. Harvey grabbed Clara's arm. Time to go, lady. You've caused enough of a scene. The moment his hand touched her, the lobby erupted. Ruby Jean shouted, "He's putting his hands on her." Several guests stepped closer, forming a protective semicircle. Clara didn't resist, but her voice carried a new edge. Last chance to do the right thing. Buford's face flushed red. The right thing is protecting this hotel from people who don't belong here. People like you who think they can scam their way into luxury. The words hit like a slap. Phones were recording from multiple angles now. The businessman stood up entirely. The elderly woman had pulled out her own phone. Clara reached for her phone again. "Log this moment," she said calmly. "Full documentation. Authorization level 7. From the speaker came a crisp voice. "Logged. Systems ready. All footage time-stamped." Buford sneered. "Your little theatrical performance won't work here, sweetheart. This is my hotel, and I decide who stays and who goes." Clara's eyes met his. "Your hotel. That's right. I've run this place for 8 years. I know quality when I see it, and I know fraud when I see it." The crowd had grown larger. More guests were recording. Ruby Jean's livestream viewers had climbed past 5,000. "You've just sealed your fate," Clara said softly. The tension in the lobby reached a breaking point as Harvey attempted to physically escort Clara toward the exit. But she stood firm, her calm demeanor more commanding than any shouting could have been. "This lobby belongs to me," she said. The simple statement fell like a bomb. Conversations stopped. Phones paused mid-recording. Even Buford's arrogant smile faltered. Harvey laughed nervously. "Right, and I'm the King of England." But Rayford stepped forward again, his voice stronger now. "She's telling the truth. Clara Washington is the founder and CEO of Magnolia Hospitality Group. She owns this hotel. She owns the entire chain." The lobby fell silent, except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic outside. Buford's face went pale. Ida Bell's mouth fell open. Harvey took a step back. Ruby Jean's livestream exploded with comments. "Holy shit, she owns the hotel. This just got real." Clara reached for her phone one more time. "Patch me through to legal." A new voice filled the lobby through the speaker system. "Miss Washington, this is Carla. We've been monitoring the situation. Authorization confirmed. Do you want to proceed with termination protocols?" Clara's eyes never left Buford's face. "Terminate Buford Lee. Terminate Harvey Glenn. Terminate Ida Bell. Immediate removal from all Magnolia properties. Freeze their access credentials and flag them system-wide." "Processing now," Carla's voice replied. Within seconds, their employee badges beeped red. Access denied. Security clearance revoked. Their entire careers at Magnolia Hospitality Group ended in real time, in front of dozens of witnesses. Buford stammered. "You can't. This isn't. You set us up." "No," Clara replied. "I walked in like any other guest, quietly, respectfully, with a valid reservation. The only thing I didn't bring was the privilege of being judged by my appearance. And you showed everyone exactly how you treat people who don't fit your narrow definition of quality." The fired employees stood behind the desk in stunned silence as the reality of their situation sank in. Their badges were dead, their access revoked, their careers over. But Clara wasn't finished. "For 8 years," she said, her voice carrying across the lobby, I've received reports about this location, complaints about discriminatory treatment, guests who felt unwelcome, staff who were afraid to speak up, and every time I investigated, I was told it was isolated incidents, personality conflicts, misunderstandings. She turned to address the growing crowd of guests. How many of you have experienced problems here? How many complaints were dismissed or ignored? Hands began to rise. The businessman spoke up. I saw them turn away a Latino family last month, told them there were no rooms available, then checked in a white family 10 minutes later. The elderly woman nodded. I complained about discriminatory treatment toward my disabled grandson. Never heard back. One by one, guests began sharing their experiences. A pattern emerged of systematic bias, covered up by management and enabled by silence. Ruby Jane's live stream had gone viral. Local news stations were picking up the story. Social media was exploding with hashtags and shares. Harvey made one last desperate attempt. You tricked us. You came in looking like what? Clara asked sharply. Like a human being who deserved basic respect. Ida Bell broke down. I was just following orders. Buford told us to be selective about who we accommodated. The admission hung in the air like a confession. Carla's voice returned through the speaker. That statement has been recorded and will be forwarded to our legal team. Clara turned to Rayford, who had stood up for her when it mattered. You spoke truth when others stayed silent. I'm promoting you to guest services manager, effective immediately. The young man's eyes widened. Ma'am, thank you. Don't thank me. You earned it by having integrity. As security escorted the 3 terminated employees from the building, Clara addressed the lobby full of guests and staff. Her voice was steady, resolved. What happened here today wasn't about revenge. It was about accountability. For too long, policies existed on paper, while bias flourished in practice. That changes now. She turned to Rayford. Reset all front desk protocols. I want new training for every employee. No one gets to decide who belongs here, based on appearance, accent, or assumptions. The crowd began to applaud, slowly at first, then building to a sustained ovation, not for the spectacle, but for the justice. Ruby Jane spoke into her live stream. We came here as tourists, but we witnessed something historic. A woman reclaimed not just her business, but her dignity, and in the process, she changed everything. Clara retrieved her platinum card from the safe, but instead of heading to her penthouse suite, she remained in the lobby, speaking with guests, hearing their stories, and beginning the work of real reform. Hospitality isn't about judging who deserves service, she said. It's about assuming everyone does. 3 months later, the Grand Magnolia Hotel was unrecognizable, not in its marble floors or crystal chandeliers, but in its soul. A new culture of genuine hospitality had taken root, and the changes rippled throughout the entire Magnolia Hospitality Group. Rayford Clyde, now a successful manager, implemented new training protocols across all properties. The company launched an initiative called Dignity First that became an industry standard. As for Clara Washington, she was no longer the invisible CEO who preferred to work behind the scenes. Her courage in that lobby became a catalyst for change throughout the hospitality industry. The story spread far beyond Ruby Jane's live stream. It became a case study in business schools, a rallying cry for civil rights organizations, and a reminder that sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one who's been underestimated. Because in the end, true power isn't about who you can exclude, it's about who you choose to include. If you believe everyone deserves respect regardless of appearance, share this story. Stand up when you see injustice, and remember, silence in the face of discrimination is complicity. Thanks for joining us on this episode. If you enjoyed the story, please do like and share. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.